Reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here this morning. Hope everybody's well. Before we start, we need to do a forum call when you get a chance.
We need to do an air conditioner shutdown.
Okay, take your time. So I don't have to yell anymore.
Yeah, what do you want me to do?
Why don't you call the roll? What?
Chittick.
Here.
Ludington.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Bruner.
Here.
Lorenzen.
Here.
Farnham.
Here.
Voigt.
Here. We do have a quorum. In fact, everybody is here. I do have a note from Jim Keller's family expressing gratitude for us sending flowers. And it reads, "Thank you for the flowers sent by the members of the county board. They were beautiful and greatly appreciated, Carol." Okay? So, sad day. All right, moving on. The minutes from the July 10th meeting, you've had those for several days. I'd entertain a motion. First, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve those. Phil moves.
Second.
Derek seconds. Assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are accepted. Claims against the county, likewise you've had those for several days. Are there any questions or concerns? Hearing none, I would accept a motion to approve those claims.
So moved.
Derek moves. Andy seconds. Assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. County board claims, again, you've had those for several days. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve those claims.
So moved.
Dan moves.
Second.
Derek seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. They are approved. Now we come to the portion of the meeting where we ask for public comment. We ask that you identify yourself and restrict any comments you have to 5 minutes. So the podium is there by the front of the table there. So are there any public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to the highway resolutions. The first resolution is for improvement amended BLR 09110, appropriating motor fuel tax for the following: the Horace Brockton Road and the Mulberry Grove box. I assume you discussed those on Monday morning. Did you want to briefly describe those?
The 9110 is just the appropriation. It should say amendment, I'm sorry, it's revised. We approved dollars for that a year and a half ago. And we had moved it up just a little bit to do some day labor and some construction layoff. The second one's the night agreement. It adds maybe $5,000 or so to their original agreement to pay a little bit of an overrun and for some construction layout. And again, we're trying to do some drainage work there in anticipation of guardrail work next summer.
Gentlemen, do you have any questions as they relate to those that first resolution at this point? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion for a resolution to approve those two items.
Sir.
Described in number 1.
So moved.
Derek moves. Dan seconds. Any further questions? Mr. Clerk?
Chittick.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruner. Lorenzen.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
It does carry, thank you. Next, the highway engineer has described to you the night agreement. So I need a resolution authorizing for me to sign the amendment number 1 to BLR 05510 for the bridge study and survey. So, motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Dan moves. Andy seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Chittick,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Lorenzen.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Does carry, thank you. Next, resolution from Joseph E. Meyer, County Tax Agent, to convey parcels to Ivan R. Inman and Donna K. Intricate. Again, these are coming for non-payment, and somebody wants to buy them, or buy this parcel, so that's what's described herein. Do I have a motion on this resolution? Yeah, Phil moves. And Andy seconds. Any further questions? Mr. Clerk?
Before I call the roll, that's the old McCoy's building, is what this property is. I'm sorry,
No, you're fine.
just so you know.
Where's that
Over on the east side of the square, one of the old
shoe store.
shoe store.
That's where Dole.
Chittick,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Lorenzen.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Resolution does carry. Next, we have a request from the Chrisman Firemen's Association for $1,500 from the motel hotel tax for Christmas Day celebration, September 6th, 7th, and 8th of 2019. Yes,
How much is in the account?
a little over $1,500. I told them when they presented me the letter, they do for $1,500. If we approved anything, it would be certainly less than $1,500.
Okay.
So it's up to you how much. I think that account had about, yes, John.
As I remember right, last year they requested 1,500 also, and didn't we approve for 1,000?
Yes, we did, John.
That's kind of.
So it's up to you what you want to approve. They'd appreciate whatever.
I think 1,000 would be,
Is that a motion, Dan?
I'll make a motion, donate 1,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Derek, is that you that
Yeah.
seconded? Okay. Moved and seconded. All those in favor I'm sorry, is there further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. Okay, next, I'm sure this will take a little bit of time, or at least some consideration. Motion to renew health insurance with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois for the period beginning 10/1/19, ending 9/30/20. Now, this is on the agenda on the hapstance that we can come up with what we're comfortable with. It is only here, and if we can't, we'll go to Plan B or C as far as when to consider it. But if it wasn't on the agenda and we happen to get lucky and everything fall together, we wanted to make sure it was on the agenda. So this isn't to force anything, okay? So, discussion, I understand the committee met last Friday, or Monday. So, do you have a report on it, committee? Nobody showed up, I understand.
No employees.
Right, the three committee persons, or people, were there.
We did have one issue that, and I don't know whether it be just our committee or potentially the whole board, and we haven't decided on anything, but we've had an issue in the past with, since we offer the option for benefits to spouses and children, if employee, if they try to get spousal insurance through the healthcare marketplace, then they can't do it because we offer it, but we offer it at a rate that's so cost prohibitive. There's currently 2 people doing it. We've talked to one, the other one we're in the process of getting hold. It sounds backwards, but we may actually be helping the employees by not offering it to spouses if it gives them a cheaper option. And, you know, if we decide to do that, I have no clue if that's, you know, a board policy or something we'd have to consider. And there's also checking into, we may have to legally offer it for dependents and not spouse, and it's just something we're looking at. And
It's
it's
an
not
issue
something
that's-
that, and it's not an issue that we have to deal with while, when we renew. We can do it at any time, but
The issue's come up before.
yeah, it has, and we had enough people on it before that we kind of kept doing it to help those people, and that may not be the issue this year, so.
I did notice that, like, not the year we're in, but the previous year, it was a lot less for a dependent. Now, this year we're currently in and just finishing up, then it went way high.
For
And now
kids, not
next-
for spouse.
Next year, it's falling again by $400 or $500. Go ahead, Don.
I will speak for myself, but I also know there was two other people that had dependents on. The reason I did it was, it's hard enough for us adults to meet insurance needs sometimes, so it was our way of helping our children as they get it in their early 20s. 2 years ago, in round numbers, it was $350. I know that was sweet for children. Then it jumped to 900 some, now it's up to 1,700 some. I know your focus, maybe not your focus, but you're trying to keep the employees on the, that's your duty, that's your, I'll use focus. But I really don't see why it jumped to 1,700. To me, I couldn't believe it when it jumped to 900, and then none of us were on it last year.
One, I think, wound up being on it last year.
For
We
a
got
short
one on
period
it,
of
right,
time.
yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, not of the people I'm thinking, but anyway,
I'm the second or the third, by the way.
to me, why would it jump 1,700 if there are actually no claims going against? To me, it just doesn't make sense. In other words, I thought it would have gone back down. So anyway, that was just my comment, and I am going to have to do something. We put our children on my wife's Blue Cross Blue Shield through the school system as a compromise, and we're still trying to find out what the new rate's gonna be for them, for District 95. It was 600 some last year, so 300 versus not, went from 600 and 900 here. We took the lesser of two evils, needless to say, but I don't know what it's gonna be now.
What
those
was your
numbers back?
maximum out of pocket done?
You know what, that was,
I just wondered.
It was 2,500.
at the age my boys are, there's really not too much concern except maybe some high claim like for broken bones or something like that, but that monthly premium, to think that I'm gonna spend $20,000 a year for three kids just doesn't, and I know it's my choice to help my boys, but I'll tell you what, I don't know that how well they would do it on their own. I don't know in this day and age.
Well, and that's kind of this issue especially, and kids, that may be a different story, but with spouses, if technically they are not supposed to be able to go through the marketplace to get insurance if the spouse's employee covers it. And, depending on income and everything, there's a lot cheaper options doing it that way. So if we don't, that's where I'm saying if we don't offer it, we may actually be helping the price that everybody can get it at, which, like I said, it seems really backwards, but
Well, I can't imagine anybody partaking of the dependents this year.
that's their.
Did it go up again? You
No, it's
guys,
the 1,700 a month.
this year is?
Coming year.
Chris told me it went down.
Oh, I thought, yeah, it went down.
The kids went way down, the spouse went way up.
I mean,
Augie, what was it? Oh, no, not the spouse, I'm talking about children.
Yeah, that's what I'm
children
talking
went
about.
way down again.
I called Augie the other day and I thought you said it was 1,700 a month.
Did the kids go down to about 1,000 again?
which plan were you on?
HSA,
The most people are on?
the 20s, I don't even know what the deductible is for this coming
So
year.
it's 1455.60 is the monthly.
Okay, we'll call it
What's the other
1,500.
one, Derry?
It went down. 1206, so like the bare bones, the
Right.
cheapest plan is 1206 per employee plus children, and then the PPO is 1634.95.
Well, it didn't go down from last year. Last year was 900 some for that HSA for
2 years
children.
ago. He means 2 years ago.
Right, yeah, so from last year, the employee and children did go down for,
It was 1,700 last year, 1,400, and 1,800 last year. I'm looking at it right here on the sheets.
When was it 900?
2 years ago.
Couple, 2 years ago, that's the
Okay,
one
then
I'm talking
time is-
about.
Okay, so it went from 300 to 900 to
To
1,700.
And now back down to 1,200.
Well,
it's a
I
very
stand
complicated
corrected.
formula.
Time flies, but it's still,
Well, no, that's what I was saying, the 2 year, or not this year, but the previous year, it was, they really hit us between that year.
and I don't understand that.
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me.
So disregard all that previous.
Okay, well, that was, 10 minutes we'll never get back in our lives.
In a nutshell,
Yes,
it's a
John.
4.5% increase for this year. There's a little bit of difference with different plans and everything, but
Well, how do we want to proceed, gentlemen?
You didn't have that, did you?
How do we want to proceed as far as,
I don't know if we asked the question, if we can go ahead and proceed and then make the decision on the spousal coverage next, at least we have the vote of the board.
in other words, approve renewing and with adjustments? And, okay,
yeah.
with
and-
adjustments, and that way we'd have some, but that will not relieve the clerk's office of sending anything out yet, because some stuff won't be handled, but at least we wouldn't have to have a special meeting at that point.
Jeff, can I make a comment?
Yeah,
First person account, I don't know how everyone else is doing it, this is only first person. When I apply it, when I try to go on the marketplace, I can't, because one of the top 2 or 3 questions is, does your employer offer? And if I say yes, I'm out.
the thing is, we may have to offer it no matter what.
I
It may
understand.
be the law.
But yet there are folks being subsidized, so I don't know if some people are saying no, or, I don't know why I'm the only one that gets kicked out when I say yes.
You're not the only one, I've heard that from
Well, I know a lot of the
other
folks that I talk to that work at the county are being subsidized. so-
Can't Kirk answer that question?
Yes.
Although we,
It's our understanding that you do not have to offer spousal, but you do have to offer dependents, children.
And that kicks me out personally, me personally. Some other folks somehow are getting it, but as soon as I say yes, my employer offers it, I'm out. I'm not eligible.
well, again, and not to be thoughtless, but that is not our fault that the system is set
I
up the
understand,
way it
it's
is.
just information.
Okay, we'll do the best we can with what we've got.
Well, and so, back to the earlier point that John made, our decision to keep or drop that spousal or children coverage, we don't care,
I agree.
right? So
Understand.
it's all the employees. So if 2 people go, yeah, we're good with it, one person says no, then it's a no, right? So, and again, like Jeff said, there may be some other requirement, but as far as the cost differences, it's not enough to drive us. We'd just soon have you guys be happy
Understood.
with what we're doing.
It's not my business, but my question to the board would be this: how many, and it might not be my business, how many spouse and children policies is the county carrying?
He's got it right there.
2
2 total?
2 spouse, no
spousal,
children.
no children,
See,
per
Yeah.
Kirk's thing.
And one of those
And one of them
is,
said yeah, one works with me and she
We
won't.
talked to her,
Yeah,
and she was like, yeah, great, so.
So I can't speak on behalf of the entire county, but on behalf of myself, if there's just one more person and they're willing to do something else, then I think it would be in the county employee's benefit if you did not offer it. So a person like me could check, no, it's not offered.
right.
So, I mean, we just need to talk to that other one individual. make sure
And
there's
that's
nothing
kind
hanging
of
there,
the
they
gray
understand.
area,
But-
and we're getting that covered.
What did you say, Augie, though? You thought that we have to offer to children?
Yes,
That's, okay.
dependent,
We need
yes.
to find out what.
I would be
Legally
99% confident of that.
the other question is, are we going, now we have a 2 contracts with unions, and they're gonna be 15%, okay, this coming year. The other question is, are we gonna pass, the increase is not huge, are we gonna pass along the increase, or what are we gonna do? Okay? We need to make that
Where are we
decision.
with everybody else? I mean, is that
We're at
across the board?
20%.
We're at 20%.
So we're not, we could also modify the plan. We have that available to us now via the contracts where we can modify, but I'm not sure that's
Well,
of
that
any
was one of the
value.
reasons, going back, why we changed it from a dollar contribution from the county to a percentage, is to make that transition easier.
Right, and it seems to me, and I haven't had a lot of chance to put it to the budget, but this would be a perfect opportunity, if we can afford it, to lower that 20 to either 18 or 19 and head in a direction, if we can.
And that has always been our goal, you know, as we've talked about before. But there is also no reason to do that necessarily at the same time we renew. You know, we can do the employee's percentage contribution at any time.
Well, the only
So-
thing, John, is that we send out a sheet of paper to them and list on it their costs.
Okay.
And see, that would be nice for them to have
Sure,
that
okay.
information.
No, I can see
You're
that.
absolutely right. It has nothing to do with the renewal, but it has everything to do with their selection of what makes sense, okay?
My position would be, I would like the county employees to be more in parity with union employees. So as much as that's possible to do, I would be on board with that.
And you've got to remember that on that cover page, it showed that, what was that, $1,700 increase per month? Well, that's for all departments. That's not just,
So that's-
yeah, there was, on mine, there was something written by Kirk on there
Yeah.
as what the increase was gonna be.
1,761.88.
Right, that's for, part of that's health department and part of that is highway department. That is not totally ours, okay, as far as Fund 100. So I didn't know, that's why I had that information shipped out to you on who was on what plan, so you could figure out what actually the increase would be. I didn't have time to calculate that, okay? Does that make sense, the
Yeah.
way I explained it? So our increase may only be 800, I don't know. It could be 900, it could be 600, I have no idea. It just depends on what we have. We also have to decide if we're gonna keep 3 plans. I don't see reason not to, but, I mean, we've got PPO, right, Derek? And we've got a couple people on there that has specific needs to have a PPO. There's no reason I can see that we need to do that, but
So,
those,
I mean, yeah, I would be in favor of just leaving the 3 plans as is, for the reasons you mentioned. And, you know, again, I was surprised, we did a lot of work last year of coming up with, you know, shuffling the plans, trying to find a good, you know, 3 significantly different offerings. I was surprised at the number of people that didn't take the cheapest option, but, you know, that may change.
at least they had the option.
Exactly, so I don't have any reason why I wanna change the 3 plans we have as of right now. Certainly if we're able to, the spousal coverage or whatever, if that's the employee's wish, I definitely would be doing that. Other than that, no change.
Well, what do you wanna do? Do you wanna approve the plan for renewal, contingent on the county absorbing the increase, keep the plans the same, and then the committee getting back and saying, a recommendation, of course, that, we really wouldn't need that to send out at this point. You do need to find out whether we have to do the spousal and or the dependents.
And that's not necessarily, we don't necessarily have to have that before renewal. That's another thing we can change at any time.
Is that true?
I mean,
Well, it's up to you. If we're-
Basically, what you're passing today is just, are we gonna accept this renewal?
Right.
The specifics of it, we need to work out, but whether or not we're gonna pass the renewal.
And, if you don't plan to change any of the plans, because you
Right.
went through that process
Right.
last year, I mean, that doesn't mean next year or the year after, we might have to refine things.
To go back to what you were stating with the options on passing it on, I really like the idea, and as a policy, I think we need to keep it on a percentage basis. You know, rather than, you said if we eat the cost, well, that changes the percentage.
Yeah, no.
Now, if we want to
You're right.
change and try to drop the employees to 17% or something like that, I would be all in favor. I don't have the budget numbers in front of me but yeah, that, we need to keep trying to narrow that down.
Yes.
Hang on one second.
And is that something, I agree with John, is that something we can pass next time around that we'll still have no, I mean, that's still time to get everything lined up, right? Is that something we can discuss in the next study session and then pass? Or do they have to be a complete deal?
Augie, you're gonna have to become involved with that.
When's the bottom date, cutoff
Yeah.
date to get everything done? For them to make a decision what percentage it is,
Okay.
and you gotta get it to the employees.
By the first payroll in September. And I don't,
It'd have to be, the Friday before the pay date is when you turn things in, but she would need a few days before that to get things entered into the computer. So I would say the first week of September sometime.
think-
And then you need to let the employees know ahead of time, you know,
Yeah,
that's
so
the
that-
key, so they can make a decision before you have to do all that. So I
Yeah,
think,
you back up, if you back from the pay date, then we've gotta give the employees sufficient time to look
a
it
couple of
over.
weeks, so you're basically,
We're,
you need to make the
we're
decision
close.
now.
We're close,
Yeah, real close. If not this week, next.
yeah, cause, then we have to get all the information out, summary of benefits, you know. And we wanna do it accurately the first time.
Right.
And then if we can get it done in a timely manner, then we don't have to go through, Don does not have to go, well, I guess it's both of our offices, payroll adjustments,
Right.
which means IMRF adjustments. It's very time consuming and it's really not a desirable situation.
If we ate the increases as suggested here, the most expensive plan would drop them from a 20% to a 19.555. For the cheapest plan, it would be 19.86. And for the one that the 40 are on, it would be 19.74. Okay? So it's not dropping it hugely, okay?
Right.
By us eating, by the county board underwriting the increase, okay? Hate the term eating. So what you could do, I mean, some options are to do it that way and list out those percentages, but that's, I think you're better off to say, we're gonna drop it from 20 to 19 or 18.
That's the number I was
Yeah.
thinking.
So that would make it easier and that would eat into what they're currently paying a little bit and give them a break if you went like with 18 or 19. Not much, but it is headed in the right direction, okay?
Well, we always knew we couldn't do it in one fell swoop.
Right.
So,
But it would show that we were trying.
So, is it
That's up
safe
to
to
you.
assume that if I'm trying to do quick math, as much as I can, with, what that actual dollar cost will be, 19 by 18%, I just take that from the annual total as far as our total budgetary costs between the two?
Yep.
Okay. So that'd be just shy of $5,000 a percent. Sound about right?
Mhm.
I would do, let's stick with 19, we're moving in the right direction, we're covering these costs. And then we'll look next year to see where we're going. Hopefully the costs get less. We may be able to drop another percentage then. So.
Or at that point, we may have other issues and you may decide
Right.
to take a deductible from 25 to 35. Anything like that, which would, and if we had good participation from the employees, of course, you've got to remember, we just literally found out last Friday.
Right.
And so it's hard to get everybody on board to discuss it, so. So what do you, so you think we should approve with the employee share dropping to 19, except for the unions, which are 15?
Right.
I think so.
And allow for potential modifications of the spousal if that's
Right.
that's a possibility and that's what's wanted by the employees. So that altogether would be the motion.
Andy? Dan? Bill? Carl?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion then from you folks to continue?
So moved.
Yes, did you get what the essence of the motion is?
Yes,
Okay.
I do have a question.
You have a question?
Yeah, are you still going to maintain the contribution to the HSAs for the employees?
Yeah, yes,
I just
Yep.
want to put that out there
Yep.
because we're renewing.
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you want that part of the motion or no? Or is that just an administrative?
Well, that's administrative.
Okay.
We can put that in the September, you might put that into, so it's clear, but it's not in the agenda to deal with contributions to
Okay.
HSAs, so we'll leave that as a separate issue.
Motion by Lorenzo.
Motion by Lorenzen, seconded by John. I assume you're ready to vote? You want to call the roll on that, just so we're...
Chittick,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Lorenzen.
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next, we have the renewal contract with Bushu. Now, the reason it's listed like that is that it doesn't mean that we're going to or not going to, but we have to ask the question. So what is your, we have a renewal contract before us, and you see the dates of September 1st of this year through 8/31 of '22. That's a 2-year contract. I thought we probably want to decide or talk about it. It's not something we have to renew, but it's there if you want to. Thoughts? Yes, Dan?
I think we've kind of decided that we're not getting our money's worth. We have to pay $10,000 a year, and we've talked to some of the people that have used Bushy, and they think basically feel the same way we do. We're not getting our money's worth.
Meaning our own county employees, right? You're saying?
Well, and we've also talked to several county employees that say they are more than capable of handling all the same services.
As well
And
as
they're
sourced
okay
off
with it, so we're not.
by our insurance carrier too, so we've got quite a bit of redundancy baked in, so. You're looking for a motion on that to,
I'm trying to decide whether we need a motion or you just don't have a motion, so we don't renew. I don't know, is that considered a negative motion to move to not to renew the contract?
probably.
Yeah, I mean, you can take a quick vote. see what
I
everybody
think,
says.
I think that'd probably be best to go on record.
Okay.
So let's have a motion not to renew, and if it's out of order, we can always adjust that
So
later.
moved.
Second.
Not to renew, right?
The motion
And
is
that's
not to
moved
renew.
by Derek and seconded by Dan. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay. All right, department heads. Donald? Okay, he
We
says
are,
no. Oh,
we have used the past week or so as a catch-up week. We had to put a lot of things on the back burner during the collection cycle. We're digging ourselves out of that hole. We did a distribution where it hit the bank accounts on July 31st. In round numbers, we're hoping to collect, we'll just round it up to 26 million this year. And I did a distribution of 16 million at the end of July. So more than half of it was paid out to the taxing districts, mainly because a lot of people, it seems like more and more every year, just paying both installments, get them over with. There'll be another distribution into this month or first week of September. It will be a small distribution because it has turned into a ghost town at the collections office. People are, this is normal, so there will be a very small distribution. Other than that, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Do you have anything else, Mr.
County Line
Engineer?
Bridge should be open by the end of the week, which is a pretty big deal. We're still waiting on the multi-year plan, hear back on Camp Bridge and our application for the Lower Terre Haute Road. So kind of a waiting pattern with the MYP, the multi-year plan from IDOT. Still a lot of questions.
Yep.
That's it. Any questions?
What bridge is open?
It's not a bridge, it's a structure. County Line, we call it Pat Church Road.
Yeah, yeah.
We closed it a couple, 3 months ago, and it took a long time to get the 12-foot diameter pipe actually fabricated, but it's in, and we're backfilling it, and the weather's caused a little bit of trouble, but we hope to have it open by the end of the week. It's a coordinated project with Clark County.
Okay, thank you. Jeff?
Don't have a thing.
Sam, do you have anything for Horizon? Not
I do.
Verizon.
I wasn't here last month, so just to kind of catch you up from June and July, all of our providers attended emergency vehicle operations course. That helps them to be able to safely operate emergency vehicles by the rules of the road that operate them, and also helps with our insurance rates. As well, all of our full-time providers got certified in advanced medical life support, which has not occurred in this county previously. We had a successful fair season, a few little hiccups, but everything for our first season doing that was, our crews enjoyed it and we appreciated being included in the fair. And we are moving hot and heavy into all of our school tours, factory tours, and football season is upon us.
I didn't ask before, what's the status? We had some, are they AEDs, is what they're called?
Oh, yeah, that is one thing that I had on my list and I couldn't think of it this morning.
Got your back.
So thank you. That is a huge project, so there's 174 AEDs spread throughout the county. So it is a coordinated effort between us and the Paris Fire Department. And the fire department is going out every shift and checking people's AEDs for batteries that are still current, not expired, and pads that are not expired. And so as you're well aware, that hadn't been done for many, many, many years. And so almost every week, I'm having to put an order in for additional batteries to replace someplace and then pads to replace someplace. So we'll get that up to current this year. The life expectancy on a battery is about 4 years and pads are about every 2 years. So once we get it caught up, our goal is to get it caught up by December of this year so that hopefully we can get it on a cycle. But that's where we are with the AED.
What budget covers the cost of those replacements? Or is
That comes out of the people. So if it was the Methodist Church, per se, it's out of their budget. The AEDs were given to them in the initial startup as on a grant. Some places purchased their own or purchased at a reduced cost, subset by the grant. But the ongoing cost is them, but the hospital is not we are charging them. The reason we are ordering is because we are in a purchasing group, so we get a volume discount. So we can purchase and we're only charging them our cost. There's no cost for the fire department to go out and update the software. There's no cost for the fire department to check its compliance and make sure that it's firing appropriately. And there's no cost for us to do all the paperwork to order all the stuff and get it out to them.
And so you do send the bill.
Okay, thank you. Angie?
The only thing I have is that every time it rains now, we've got a leak in this room right over here. It appears it's leaking from the porch down the wall or something, but that's.
We call that a legacy humidifier, but there's no cost to that.
Yeah, right. It's kind of a smelly one too.
I'll meet with the actors and the budget.
Okay. That's it. Monty?
Nothing new to report,
Nothing?
nothing.
All right. Janet?
Not much, getting ready for flu season, so not sure on the cost yet. We're looking at what our cost is gonna be, and if our costs don't go up, then neither will our prices, but other than that, not much.
Hi, Jill.
Hey, I don't have anything.
Okay. Mary Lou, how, everybody enjoyed the fair? How,
Good
Yeah.
fair.
have anything to say,
Fair
or?
was great. Appreciate the ambulance service.
Okay.
They did a tremendous job out there and we're very pleased.
Thank you. Did anybody have a question about the fair? The bar? Okay, Dina?
The only thing I have is Monday morning, I had a meeting with the gentleman who did our flights last year, or not last year, but in 17, to tell us they are no longer in that business. So we are down to 2 known vendors to do these flights, and one of them is the one we did our initial flights with. The other one is pictometry, which is the one most counties are going with, but it's the very pricey 3D where you can use your mouse and go all the way around the building and literally see all 4 sides of a structure. But it's very pricey, you know, you pay for that service. So we're just beginning that thinking period of putting out bids and preparing for flights, even though they're not really due till 2021. We're scouring to see what other counties are doing. If you fly with another county, sometimes you can get a little bit of a discount. So we're just preparing for that in the future.
Okay.
How often do you do this?
Our goal was to do every 4 years. Clark is flying next fall, which would be a 3-year period, but they're flying with pictometry, so that may not be an option because of the costliness of those.
I mean, are these counties choosing that particular company because that allows them to not have as many people on the ground, or, I mean?
I'm thinking, I don't know this because I haven't got it really, since I just talked to them, found this out Monday. I'm wondering if they don't maybe partner with either a corporation, emergency districts, or someone where that might benefit to be able to use that photography to see an entrance to a structure or, I don't know, a height of a building. I mean, apparently you can measure everything from all views. You can measure heights of a bin if there were emergencies. So I'm wondering if they don't partner with other entities and the full burden of that cost doesn't fall on the county. But, you know, it's top-notch technology. Actually, he said right now, out of the 102 counties, he's flying about 55 of them. So a little over half the counties are flying with pictometry. I don't know where they're getting money. I mean, this comes out of the GIS funds,
Question.
which comes from recording fees. There is no taxpayer money involved in this at all. So it's just a matter of how much money you want to spend.
What is the differential on that?
Our fee for this last flight in 17 was right around 50,000 with some change. Pictometry, the last bid, if you do a single year, it was 103. If you do a 2-flight and 6-year plan, one was, I want to say 70-something, and the second one was 90-something, so you're looking at 170 for 2 flights, but still, that's a lot more than 50,000. Again, it's just a flat from the air thing, you don't get the cool 3D, but anyway, we're down to a couple of choices now.
Does that come with, like, are they providing you with some sort of hard drive or software? I mean, I gotta think that's a large file.
No,
And so-
he asked the companies we are currently working with, the mapping company of Bruce Harris, and then our tax vendor is the CIC, and he's familiar with both. They would integrate easily with that, he said, no problem. But again, that's pictometry. I don't look at that being an option unless there would be another entity willing to maybe share that cost.
Edgar Jones wanna kick in, they can throw a banner behind the plane.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's not a bad idea.
Well, it just seems to me that going that route would get rid of the boots on the ground assessors, which don't think we can really do either. So, you know,
Right. You know, and the minute you fly, they're outdated. Somebody's built something, somebody's put in a waterway, they've dug out some trees, and they're now telling it, it's driving a car off the lot, you know, it's depreciated the minute it's done, so.
Sam, you had a question?
I just simply had a statement because I sit in multiple meetings. I know that Carl in the 911 board meeting on Monday night, they're looking at updating the 911 software to a next gen, not the software, but the actual like equipment. And the front loading of that is making sure that the GIS is completely updated, and so that may be something to what she's speaking of. There may be some shared costs, because part of what Nanette is trying to do is get that GIS updated through Bruce Harris, I think is who she said. So that may be something that they could share, because those images come into the 911, and then that, when you're dispatched to that location, the next gen software actually would push that to our trucks, to the sheriff's deputies' cars, to the fire apparatus, and we would hit the pin when we got in the truck and it would take us there.
General imaging software, what's GIS, what is that?
GIS is Geographical
Information
Information
System.
System.
Okay.
Yeah, we currently, Bruce Harris is working with the county and Nanette, and I think we've got like a $90,000 or $100,000 contract that they're doing over the next year. So all the information that they get will work with this new equipment that we're gonna have to buy for $275,000. So this next gen that she mentioned is something the state's requiring us to do, and it's supposed to be in place by next July. And it's costing the 911 funds about $375,000.
Well, I mean, there's gotta be some reason, because, you know, most counties around here are in the same as or worse financial situation. So if the majority are choosing this, there's gotta be a reason behind it. So I'd be curious to see what you find out as far as.
Yeah,
if we
it's
can-
a, pardon me.
Oh, I'm sorry, if we can just join forces with other agencies, then that would be a good thing.
Okay. The next person I'd like to call on would be, I lost the page. Jonathan Burns. You're now the new director of the HRC.
I am. I'm acting director right
Okay.
now, and as of September 1st, I'll be the executive director of HRC.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I do have a few items. Wanted to make everybody aware that I've already been diving into some of the changes that I'm wanting to see at HRC. The first one, we've already eliminated a $50 fee for assessments so that people can get in for mental health and substance use disorder treatment assessments very much more quickly. And that's one less barrier to deter people. We are in the process of revamping our billing system, which should provide a lot more clarity to the people we serve, and should provide us with a lot more information on all the little details to provide us information on how to run the business a little more informed. We got an extension on our grant to provide trauma-related trainings to the community, and you'll be seeing HRC scheduling more lunch and learns or on-site trainings at work, employers, and just locations throughout, people that are interested in learning about trauma. And the last thing I have is District 95 received a grant to be a pilot site for teen mental health first aid, and we will be providing the trainer, collaborating with them in order to provide that. And just a brief summary, teen mental health first aid teaches teenagers what to do when somebody is in a mental health crisis, whether it's they're saying they're going to shoot up the school, or commit suicide, or they're having some delusions. And it doesn't put the teen, it gives them information on when to report it to the appropriate person. They're not taking on that clinician role.
Any questions of Jonathan? I do have a request. Normally by now, Jonathan, I have a levy from you folks, and I need it as soon as that's possible.
Okay.
We collect, in other words, normally we get from you notification of what you'd like your levy to be,
Okay.
and then we levy it. And if you could get that to Augie as soon as you could, I'd sure appreciate it, okay?
Do that.
Thanks. All right, moving on. Hey, Vic, how are you?
I'm fine.
Have anything more to report, so that we have more
nothing
to
more to
put on the
report.
agenda? Once
Okay.
you're to a point where we're predisposed, I think, to accept your plan and so forth, so.
I'll just pass out little information so that pass those around. Can I talk just for a minute?
Absolutely.
Okay,
That's why I called on you.
All right. Well, I didn't know. This is
We're
my
pretty
first
excited
time.
about this, actually.
And I'm not asking for money, so, okay? I represent the Looking for Lincoln group in Edgar County, and it is a group that was really started from an act of Congress in 2008, where they designated this as the Abraham Lincoln National Historic Area. It's 42 counties. And it's really overseen by the National Park Service, like the Lincoln Home in Springfield. And well, this handout kind of shows you a little bit about the Looking for Lincoln. I'm not going to take too much time on that, but we have a group, a few volunteers here in the county. There's 3 of us in here right now. We've been meeting for some time, and our idea is, if you look at the back page of this, is back in the 1850s, 1852 or 1853, Lincoln came out of the recess court, the old courthouse here, and saw a group of children playing marbles, and he participated in the marble game. And we would like to commemorate that, since our county is the only county that I'm aware of that does not have a statue of Lincoln of the 42 counties. And what we'd like to do is a bronze statue by an artist. We've contacted a couple places, but we don't want to go forward unless we have permission for a spot on the courthouse lawn to put this statue. The cost, we're going to do fundraisers, but that's in the future. First, we have to know that we've got a sign for it. So that's basically it. I just handed this out so you get an idea of our group, and you get an idea of the story that led to wanting to do this monument or statue. Any questions you might have?
Is this the south side of the courthouse?
We don't know. I mean, that's up to the county.
Well, I thought maybe he's trying to get as close to the actual location.
The actual location, they said, when you read the article, and we've got some extras here. The back page. You got one?
Yeah, I got an extra.
It came out the east door of the old courthouse. So we would like to have it as near in proximity to where the event actually took place, but it's not necessary. We want it to look attractive for sightseers, for community members to view it. We don't want to hit.
Don't want to tuck back in a corner somewhere.
No, we don't, okay? But we do have space limitations on the east side, the War Memorial and the other areas. So I don't know, that's something to be determined, which we work in collaboration with you folks. But first, we need to know, is it possible to do it? Jeff, did you have a question?
Well, we were kind of waiting, my understanding from you, Augie, was that we didn't make it an agenda item yet because.
Yes, at one of our recent study sessions, Vicki
Okay.
came and you gave us a nice presentation.
Okay.
For those that were in attendance at that, the consensus, 100% was, yeah, that's a great idea. And we were just waiting on something more formal to come in so we could document that request. So
Okay.
we did not put it on the agenda for
Okay.
today, but we, at the chairman's choice, we can sure do that at the next meeting.
Well, that'd be great.
Okay.
And what do you mean by formal? I've done it?
Yeah, you've pretty well made your presentation and.
It'll be on the next agenda.
Okay.
All right?
Well,
I
need to leave it.
apologize, I wasn't sure where we were at, so.
We didn't know if you needed an actual motion to
Right.
continue, so. but
Well,
yeah.
we don't know. We just didn't wanna go through all this process. and
We'll put it in the
hire
form of a
sculptor and
resolution.
Find out, oh, you can't put it on the courthouse lawn, and then we're in trouble.
And Sheriff, you're along board?
I'm 100% for it.
Okay, so we'll put it in the form of a resolution for the next meeting,
Okay.
okay? To formalize it. Yes, Dan?
I was an expert marble player in my younger days. If you need somebody to help you with the ideas.
Were you in that, were you one of the boys playing?
And here I thought,
I played a lot of marbles. though.
Rather than a bronze statue, we can just hire Dan to pose out there.
They said children.
and Dan, I heard somebody say that you'd lost all your marbles.
Yeah, that's why I don't play anymore.
I'm called just volunteer myself.
Actually, one of the ideas is to get local children, their images in the statue. But we haven't got, we can't do anything until we know we can. So
Well, we'll get it taken care of.
that's it.
All right.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Vic.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Augie.
So where do you want me to start? It's okay. At your seats, I gave you the bond schedules for the restoration project here at the courthouse. My intent was not to go over those in detail because pretty much everybody knows what it's for, but it was for the amount of debt that we're carrying. And so I gave you both of those. I also gave you a handout on the, a single page on the debt for the new voting equipment, $151,000. That's a single page. Looks like we're getting close to a halfway point of retiring that debt on the big one.
For the
Yes.
bell tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I requested Augie to get us this information, so when we have our building and grounds meeting Friday, so
We know where we are on these.
right, before we commit to that project, if that's what we choose to do. But I was wanting to, I guess, know what our total, debt is, as far as, that I asked him about the voting equipment, and I need to, I guess, ask the sheriff, roughly how many squad cars you've got, money borrowed for?
How many lease payments do you have?
What's that now?
Lease payments.
Right now, then I'm waiting for Dodge. I spoke with them last week. Ford, so I've gotta do that for the end of this budget year.
Are they on order? Are your cars on order?
Huh?
Are your cars
Well-
on order?
They're gonna be probably SUVs or something, because right now, the way the car market is, it's gonna be like Ford or something. There's absolutely no cars out there to speak of, so it's gonna be like 20-some weeks wait on vehicles right now. And I talked to, at the sheriff's thing, week before last, I talked to the sheriff in Shelby County, and he'd been buying them from the Dodge dealer over there at or below state bid price. So I went out to the polls and spoke with them, and they were trying to put me something together.
So my understanding from you then is that there are no current lease payments due.
There are no current lease payments, no.
Okay.
So a question about that, because that was part of the discussion with Barry, is, so there were two pieces that we wanted to make sure we had our arms around, right? So one was, would any payments that came with the SmartWatt piece make it hard to manage, or in the future have a question on whether or not we can make those payments without adversely affecting the budget? The other piece was, what would taking on that additional debt do to our credit? How would that impede us borrowing more money in the future for some of these projects, right? So Barry stated there that it was a lease agreement, is that right? It does not affect our ability to have a bond issue, and so I'm gathering that that would be the same also for our squad car issue.
That's correct.
So real concerns or monies out there that would affect our ability to have another bond issue are basically this, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's.
But I think all that information is good to know.
Okay, absolutely, yeah. So, and my question is, can somebody, because one of the biggest questions we had was, you know, what does this actually look like? And so with the minute or so I've looked at this, I don't know with 100% that I can parcel it out. So on the larger bond issue, it looks like, you know, that will reflect, so it's on the second page. Says an upper right corner example for discussion purposes only, and I realize this is just a projection. But it has from 2009 through 2029, right? And shows, you know, the city and county making payments. And that's the part where it gets a little fuzzy, right? So we have the county annual payment, which is what we, for a couple of years, failed to do, right? And so we played a little bit of catch up, and we've kind of upped the amount that we're putting in. Is that correct?
I don't know that we failed.
You know, come on. I mean,
No,
I can use a nicer word. I just
Set
we did not.
aside, there was a
And it
couple
was-
years we weren't putting money into this,
that I will agree with.
this one
Yes.
fund to have
Yeah,
money when it comes
When
time.
you said failed to make a
Sorry.
payment, I'm thinking, when did we fail to make a payment? We always pay our
I
bills.
wanted to cast as
Okay.
many aspersions your way as I could today, Don.
Okay, thank you.
No, so, and Carl helped me out with that too, is we were using rent from the 911 to cover that cost, and then we found out we couldn't do that, and so we just had not filled that gap until last year,
Couple
2 years ago.
yeah.
And we made a big payment into that, and then we agreed to play catch-up until the point where that catch-up number was basically paying it out through the rest of our concern, 2029, right? So, just, can you, somebody help me explain how we're actually gonna use that and what all this means? Sorry, I'm, yes.
When does the city stop paying?
2023, it looks like.
Looks like 2023
Which I got
is
that
their last
part.
payment, correct?
So, am I correct in saying that not only are we paying, so let's look at just this year, 2019. This year, we are gonna pay in $50,384 and change to that bond issue. In addition, we have scheduled $36,000 to go into escrow to cover future costs. Am I close to the mark there?
Yeah, except I can't tell you what years we didn't pay or we didn't set aside in escrow.
I
So
can't either.
And we did explore that and kind of, we set that number for whatever it was, this, last time we paid it, I guess, should reflect as close as we could come up with at the time, with the additional big payment that went in, that would take us the rest of the way. And it wasn't 36, it was more, it was maybe 42, let's say, right? So I'm just trying to figure out how that works out, or where that goes. And so maybe the first question is, beyond what we have scheduled to pay into this escrow account, are we paying every year some amount to the bond issue? Are we paying that to the city of Paris, or?
no, we do not pay the city of Paris. It would be a bond issue starting in '23. And we, as I see it there, it's 46, 45, 48, 52. It'd be the bottom half of that, or bottom third.
Starting in 2023, right? So, I guess my question is, what is that other money, right? And so if I look at 2019, it appears that the city of Paris pays $53,225, and they paid for the entire time. We pay $50,384, and then we're also putting $36,000 away somewhere, right? And again, I understand it's a projection, it doesn't accurately reflect, but it should have some bearing on where we're at, right?
Is that correct?
I don't understand.
Yeah. The county from 9 to 22 has not been paying anything, right, Don?
I would probably say that's correct.
Yeah, we don't pay anything through 2022.
We have been putting money in escrow.
Right.
To cover our payments for the future.
Right. See where it switches, and I'm not sure why it says the amount that the county has in there from 2010 to 2022. We're making no payments on anything as it relates to that at this point. We start in 2023.
And in 2023, what amount would we be on the hook for?
If you look at the last item, total P&I payment after rebate.
Right. So.
46,000,
Yes.
starting in 2023.
Right.
Okay. How much money do we have in escrow?
If we had kept
Well,
up the payments as scheduled on this schedule, and we keep the budget items the same, the additional monies we would have to come up with would be the next to the last column. The county escrow applied, were there negatives?
Yes.
That would be additional money that we would have to come up with above what is currently
That
budgeted.
we've either earned on interest because it was in escrow or whatever. Okay.
I mean, those are our shortfalls.
You put this in here, Don, so I don't know which one it is.
841.
841?
The House Improvement Fund?
Yeah, we got 56.7 in it. Correct?
Correct.
Is that low because, we put more money in it over the years than that. Is it low because we haven't received a payment from the city yet?
That I don't know if we've received that yet or not.
Is it most likely that we are using the money out of that fund to make payments according to the amortization schedule? Every 6 months, we're paying interest. Once a year, we're paying principal, as I recall, to the Bank of New York. And I believe I would stand corrected, but.
Yeah, we're making semi-annual interest payments. Isn't
Okay.
interest twice?
So I think that, I don't think that, it's not coming out of the general fund.
No.
I'm confident. So it's gotta be coming out of the courthouse improvement fund.
Yeah, there's
And I can find that out here in about 5 seconds if you want me to.
line items within that fund for principal and one for interest. Bond principal and then bond interest.
Well, that's why this last column that says P&I is principal and interest, so I can't, we're not paying 37, the county share, we're not paying that. So I don't understand.
No, I need her right now.
Why
Yeah, put her on the phone, please.
Well, that's what's confusing to me, so if
Sorry to
what you're telling me is correct, Jeff, then the city of Paris is actually paying that right column, that far right column up into 2022, so.
Right.
Expectation would be this year, they're gonna pay $86,235.50.
Yeah. Now, we may pay part of that in interest, right?
Well, yeah, I don't handle this part of this.
Who handles the payment?
All that's paid out of, through the county clerk's office.
Oh, okay.
I just sign the checks, you know.
Find out something.
She says you gave her the number, but we're gonna find out.
Gave her the number.
Yeah, we're drawing out.
You better duck, Jeff, there's spears being thrown around you there.
Why?
Oh, I bet, yeah, I would point out the line item that you expense it to, yeah.
I don't think we're gonna be able to solve this right now.
No, probably not.
We need to,
We need to get a couple of answers.
yeah, maybe prior to Friday.
Right.
Okay.
If anybody wants a reference, the best way to trip us up is start talking about this crap, because every time we get into it, it's like,
Well, we
oh
tried.
my God.
None of us were here when we set it up.
I know.
Right. Well, yeah, that's right. None of us
Well,
were here when it got
addressed
set
to our
up.
satisfaction.
You and I
last
came
time.
right
We're
afterwards,
losing in the right
so.
direction.
Right, we did see it, yeah.
So maybe it's this thing, it's just this page. It's maybe it's
It
all-
would be nice to have a handle on what exactly from 23 to whatever year that is, 29, what we're gonna be responsible for paying.
Well,
Okay.
and I think just as a sanity check, I'm pretty sure the amount that we dumped in lump sum that year that wasn't maybe last year but previous was more than the amount that is sitting in escrow currently, that one payment.
Right.
So there's some disconnect on.
Well,
just
remember,
for
there's
us
a-
on how we.
There's more than just a bond and interest issue. We had or not tax anticipation, but didn't we have debt certificates on this too?
Yes, that's right.
And these aren't listed here.
Yeah.
There's debt
There's
certificates.
that second one, which is much, much less than what's that.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's where we've been.
Yeah.
185,000 is where it started out at.
Where, do you know where we're at now?
Well, yeah, this, we have a paper for this, we are at 121
Ooh,
change.
okay.
But it's, I mean, this one I'm not too worried about because we're making the regular payments of 3,000
Okay.
quarterly payments.
Well, that's where
of
some of our money is
$3,000.
going, okay?
All
Yes.
of the money that we are using to pay down this debt is coming out of 841, which is the courthouse improvement fund. That's why, yes, the balance was higher, Derek, but it's less now because that's what the money's for. We're putting that money, we started putting more money into the courthouse improvement fund for this particular reason, because the city's not gonna be able to supplement that coming up, whatever year that is. That's where the money to make those large payments is coming from. Courthouse improvement.
And the city's not paying anything towards the 185, are they? I think they're just paying towards the 815,000 that was on the bond issue, I think.
So what else is out there that you would like that I might be able to provide for you other than what I just mentioned?
So, I mean, to me, I understand how this works, and I understand that we're using that fund to cover those costs, right? And so, to me, that's basically a constant, I'm not too worried about that. The question in my mind goes back to the actual bond issue, and what I understand is the original idea that the county would pay into this escrow to build up a fund so that such time that the city no longer covers their costs, we were able to use that to supplement. And again, my understanding was that whatever that regular payment was, along with the escrow, would cover us all the rest of the way through. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I want to know where we are with the expected constant payments out of that fund and what we need to be contributing so as that plan goes into effect in 2023 and we're not stuck with an 80 grand
Well,
that we're not expecting.
yeah, I think the numbers, the way I see it, Derek, the numbers are in front of us on our amortization schedule. Every 6 months, we need to come up with that amount of money, and the schedule's right there.
Talking about this one?
Both of them. Both of them.
And I said,
One of
maybe I'm
them-
just not understanding
we've
how
been-
this
we've been,
works.
You can see the check marks every 6 months that we're paying it. And that's, I don't know how else to answer that question, other than,
You're talking about this one, right?
I think it's the big one, or is it the small one, I don't know.
So this one covers the debt service schedule that would start out at $185,000. And we have a payment right now that falls somewhere about $3,300 a quarter. Yep, quarterly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And so, you know, that one we're handling, it's a known quantity, we're covered. Now, the question is, the only question as it pertains to the debt service schedule was that part of the original plan as far as building up money in escrow to cover us through our term as the payers of the debt on the bond, right? And so, we need to get our arms around that piece and see, no kidding, where we stand. If we maintain whatever that payment was that we made last year as our regular payment, which I think was somewhere just north of 40-some thousand, right? And if that will cover us the rest of the way. Or are we behind again somehow and we need to catch up and find out where we need to be, right? Because that was less of a big deal early on when we were 5-10 years out from having to pay. That's becoming more and more of a concern and more difficult for us as a county to fill in that delta as we go on. So, does that make sense? And like I said, there may be all the answers I need right on here. I don't think there's actually, well, this is projecting that can't even read that, so, give me a second, so, 90, 86, 74. Expectation there would be somewhere around between $70,000 and $74,000 in our county escrow right now, based on the column here.
No, there's only 56,000 in escrow.
So, based on what I can come up with here, we're about 20K short of where we should.
Well, we've got
right?
36 going in yet in the next month or so.
Yes.
So,
Well, I'm sorry.
no,
No, that's,
When we do fund transfers, usually towards the end of the year, that's when we dump money into that courthouse improvement fund. So we've got money in the ensuing years to make that payment of those, well,
sure.
to make.
So, I
payments.
mean, I may be a worry word here, I mean, are we good? I mean, between the two of you, if you're saying we're on course,
no,
we're good.
I think we still have some shortfalls, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think it's, when we take a look at the budget towards the, well, when we look at where we are at the end of this year and what we project next year, that's where, if there's extra money available somewhere, I don't know where, Jeff knows all that, I don't. Then we make a transfer from the general fund to the courthouse improvement fund.
But there never is any money left over.
But there never is any money left over. So, and you know what? That's the whole reason why this all came up, was how much, what's our financial obligation? What are our payments? And if we're getting ready to take on another $1 million project, we have to know what our obligations are. That, I just intended to give you some information.
Not given that we don't save any more money towards it, okay? Say we budgeted $36,000 a year, okay? So to catch up, when we can, we do more. I think we've done up to 50 or 60,000, but that's being chewed up by about $14,000-15,000 a year in interest, okay? Our payments, our total payments for the month of 2020, or for the year of 2023 are $60,400.
Where is that at on there?
You have to take it off of two sheets. 46.4, and then you have to take you add the 14 to that, and it's basically 60,000. So you subtract $36,000 from that, assuming that we couldn't save any more, we're gonna have a shortfall of 24.4. But we've also got 4 years to increase that amount, minus $14,000 a year that we're saving, okay? So we may, at the worst, we may face a $25,000 shortfall for 7 years, okay?
All 7 years, 24,000.
I'm just saying worst.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, worst. Times, 7
That's
times,
150,000,
yeah,
roughly.
right. So, I mean, that would be, but if
That
we
we gotta
can
come up
save
with something.
$36,000 or put in even more than that, then that will help us a bunch.
Right.
I'm just saying worst possible, and we don't
Sure.
save anything.
And I guess, so to, tie a ribbon on this, based on all of that, because of the unique nature of that smart watt piece, to me, this debt that we have, it almost is a boost to the case of smart watt, because all you have to do to make this a much worse case is in 2023 have our boiler go out to jail, or some other scenario that would be fixed by the smart ones. Also, expectation is beyond the guaranteed savings is at least some savings above and beyond that. So that would be money that could potentially, it's not gonna be a lot, I don't think, but even if it was $1,000 a year, that's more money that can be put towards this debt on those years. So while I understand the concern, that smart watt is a unique scenario where it's not just, hey, we're taking on more debt and paying off. We already have guaranteed savings that are gonna defray the majority of that cost, and savings that we've agreed to, and understand as being, say that go back to the boiler to jail, a very real concern, certainly in a 15-year window, that we do not want to face just with our flat-footed.
Right.
So, I guess, to me, that's the theme of all of this is, that's why we, looked at them in the first place and why it's an opportunity, so.
Yeah, because while we may increase a little bit of costs, we're actually locking those costs in rather than, and mitigating some possible emergencies.
And amortizing them over a 15-year period by something we're trying to work for 3 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
What it costs to put the boiler in at the health department.
Yeah, we have a concrete example of what that feels like, so.
So does the committee, with further discussion, have enough to proceed to Friday? All right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Good discussion. I'm not trying to cut it short, but I mean, if you've got enough to go, go. All right? Committee reports from the
So
board?
I'm not done yet.
Oh, you're not done. I'm sorry.
Should have saved that for last.
Sorry, man.
I'm not gonna stir something else up.
Perfect.
I need to go to upstairs
Okay.
and I'll be back.
The executive
Finish his
washroom.
report.
No, we'll just keep talking about you. I was visited by a representative of the Chicago region of the 2020 census. Okay, and I put a few pages in front of you there. We are in the Chicago region, which is a 7 or 8 state region, and the goal is for, in the state of Illinois, is for every county, the county government, to select what they call a complete count committee. Appoint a CCC to go out and help make sure we get as high a turnout on a census as possible. Okay? That, in a nutshell, is what that visit was about. Now, while we are not obligated by any kind of a statute to form any kind of a committee, it's just, that's their way of, thinking how we can improve the turnout in the census. And it's going to be, they're going to have a digital option this year. Instead of filling out the long form, you just go on a computer and answer a few questions and bang, it's done. So, guy wanted me to get something done today. I said, that's not gonna happen. So, we just need to look at appointing somebody to head up the 2020 census committee for Edgar County. And then that person would go out and start getting help, volunteers. Of course, you get paid for all this too. So there's payments. We didn't get into all that, but the gentleman said he would be back as soon as we got our committee formed, so he could do training to explain that more in detail. But we don't have any financial obligation here. We don't even have to do it. It was just suggested that it be done this way, and they would appreciate our help.
So, sorry, the payment piece, how, is the state, fund us for that, or?
Well, that's a good question. He didn't say, he just said that census workers would earn, I think, minimum $14 an hour. And then I think it goes up depending upon the hierarchy of how all that works. But that wasn't, we didn't discuss that in any length at all. And I don't know if they're going to fund this committee. What he was wanting was today a letter addressed to that lady who's on that right there on that first page, to tell her that, yeah, we're going to support their efforts, and we're going to form a complete count committee and do the best we can to help. So. But I pretty well told him that it wouldn't be anybody from the county board that's gonna drive this thing. And that due to a lack of resources, it was not going to be the county clerk's office, and most likely not any of the other elected officials' offices. So I hope that was okay with everybody, but that seemed to be my best response.
I don't know, I was gonna nominate Jeff.
We could do that because he's not here. So, any questions on that? I just thought of something else. He has talked to some people in the community. He's talked to the chamber, he's talked to the city of Paris, he's talked to the library, he's talked to HRC. Just to see what kind of interest they have as far as helping out. So, that's what I can tell you about the census. Questions about that?
He wants us to appoint someone,
Committee. Yeah, wants us
but
to
we don't know
appoint.
what they do, or
Well-
if they get paid, or
Are we supposed to call Maryland?
Do what?
Are we supposed to call Maryland, find out? Because, I mean, I think he set some, he gave you enough information to ask a lot of questions, but he didn't give you very many answers.
Absolutely, that's correct, he did not. But he's just looking for a letter of support. That's what he told me. I said, I can't give you that because it's not on the agenda. But he said, it could be the county board that is in charge of the census, or the county board could appoint an individual to be in charge of the census for the county. And from there, we didn't go into those details. Yes, I would let him know what the board decided whenever it decides, and that he would take it from there. That's all I know. So, any questions, call that lady. So, okay, I'm moving on. All my colleagues, most of them have left. I wanted to thank them and for their patience during, we're short-staffed, and especially with the claims, we're trying to pick those up. We got one that's gonna retire in December, so right now I'm interviewing for 2 positions, and so there's gonna be a lot of learning. So we're gonna be very busy. So thank you for the patience so far. I appreciate your patience going forward. We'll do the best we can to respond to requests for information, whatnot. I just want to encourage, for those who are in listening distance, if you have a demand claim, you might not be able to get that the instant that you walk in the door and expect us to drop what we're doing to do that. I don't know that that can happen right now. Also, claims, regular claims that are due on the Wednesday before the board meeting at noon, don't bring those into us at 5 till 12. And we've gone down that road many times before, but for some reason, I don't know. So we'll do the best we can. So, questions for me? Thank you for the time.
All right. Dan?
Not much. Andrea is setting up a clear the shelter program this Saturday, I think, so hopefully get rid of some of the animals we have out there. I think it's on Facebook. We're also working on a policy for Andrea and Linda to be on call. We've had some few complaints that they haven't been answering the phone, but we don't have a policy on what they were supposed to do after hours, so I asked her to get some details from other counties, so we're gonna work on setting a policy up on that, so. That's all.
I think we hit the insurance and
We beat every,
buildings and ground. I've already monopolized that time.
John?
Nope, drainage ditches are fine.
How many we got now?
Carl?
I need to set up a sheriff's committee meeting for next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday morning, 10-ish, 11-ish.
Tuesday or Wednesday? Right now, Wednesday works better for me.
Wednesday. Jeff, Wednesday.
Like I said, I'm finally
11
free.
o'clock, 10 o'clock,
It's hard.
Sooner better, probably.
10.
Where you want that meeting to be held?
We'll have it here. Find a place here in the courthouse.
Yeah, I have a open room you can go
Okay.
to.
All right. That's it.
Derek?
Let's see, alphabetical airport. I had a call in the Berry, I didn't hear back from him in time, but, I don't know the status of our tank, which is the big question mark. Have you heard anything, Jeff, in that regard?
I have not.
So, I was out on the airport grounds today. All the concrete is poured with the exception of the pad where the tank will sit, and basically the periphery on one side of the pad is yet to be poured, but certainly about 90% is done there. It does look like the conduit is in for the electronics that go to the fuel farm. That was all set up, but we don't have the pad yet, so we don't have a tank yet. So it seems that most of the issues that we saw, the angry emails back and forth as far as timelines have been answered. Still unknown on the finished timeline. So saw that there was an email that went out from the state in regards to follow-on projects, and our taxiway is on there as well. As far as ambulance committee, we had a meeting on Friday, went well, covered a couple issues. Biggest takeaway is we're gonna try to get Nanette to attend our ambulance committee meetings, just so we have good conversation back and forth between all interested parties, as opposed to playing the game of telephone. So, other than that, that's it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I just received word back that we are obligated to offer dependent coverage.
Dependent but not spouse.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Okay, first of all, Augie briefed me, well, before the meeting on this deal with the census. So we'll try to wade through it. Obviously, if you have questions, please feel free to call or whatever, but in the meantime, we'll try to screen out and get things going on getting somebody as chairman of this endeavor in our county. And that way, I don't think anybody here in the county, meaning us 7, want to be involved with running the census in this county. We don't want, they're not offering us $100 grand or $5 million or anything else to do that. So the sooner we get somebody involved that's willing to put in the time, we'll get that phone number so they can talk to each other. Then the board can approve that and anything else that we need to improve. We'll work on that between now and the September meeting, which is I think on the 13th now, whatever, the 11th or something like that. I do need some help. It's budget time. I withheld doing anything with the budget, sending it out, till we had a brief discussion or a long discussion, depending on, this day seems to be good for long discussions, how much we need to allow the department heads to put in for staffing, what kind of an increase. Last year, we did 3%, and with the understanding that we may have to modify that, which we did not. We left it in at 3%. So rather than just putting 3% in or whatever, I wanted some guidance from you so you didn't go, why the heck did you give them 3? We need to talk about that. I looked up the COLA or the CPI from Social Security. They're ranging it right now. They're going up to 2.7, 2.8, but I don't know where we're going to wind up. They'll readjust that in October, so we don't know exactly where that's going to be. But as far as designing a budget, we've got the administrator, and then we've got the folks that work in that department, and then there's a set amount of money that we allot per year in the budget for them. So, any thoughts? What we ask them to do is to build the budget like last year on the 3% with the understanding we may have to knock it down. You want to do it the same way this year, and that
Yeah, I
way
would
keep it
really
simple?
like to try to get a 3% increase for the employees
Well-
if we can. That's why you worded it the way you did.
Okay, that's all I wanted to do, so we had some communication, so we're all 7 of us going into this together, not Lone Ranger in it, okay? I don't have a whole lot. I think we need, I'm sorry, but we need to have a closed session on personnel to clarify a few points that needs to be addressed. So I entertain a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing personnel. Andy moves, Dan seconds. All those in favor signify by...
Sorry, was there something else that we wanted to cover briefly that wasn't personnel yesterday? So we go in and go, oh, we can't talk about that. What was it?
That was,
Was it personnel?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good. All right.
No,
Sorry.
that's fine.
Is it-
So all in favor signify... Do you have another question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We'll have a brief recess. Jonathan, did you have a question for
No,
someone?
I just wanted to touch bases. with
Oh,
them on
no,
it.
that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
And patience and
Okay,
and
we're back.
contribution.
We're ready.
Thank you all for your
we appreciate
contributions.
your new job.
Anything
We
else?
appreciate your new job.
What new job is
Sergeant
it?
Census.
Sorry.
All those, let's see, is there anything else come before the meeting? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Derek moves, Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And for Dan, we're adjourned.